You know, you can't use one of these.
What?
So, yeah.
What?
So I haven't quite figured out how to make the wireless carriers go down yet, but it seems like it will. And I'll probably figure out a way. Them getting messages. So, anyway.
I'm ready to start. Are you ready? Go. Thank you very much, Leland. That's a great expansion of what we're doing. I am Mark Klein, and as stated before, I am your illustrious ARRL Section Manager. That role. I actually do have a badge.
What's one of those special red?
That's the red badge. This gets you absolutely nothing except a red badge. They'll say, yeah, oh, we got a red badge, your red badge. They don't give you anything, but that's a good deal. I am the ARRL Section Manager, put that commercial hat on, that if you have any questions about the ARRL, give me a holler. I'll find them out. I mean, I'll answer your questions. That should work out pretty good. So I took that role in April from Kevin Odell, and we'll see what happens. We'll have some fun for the next couple of years. As part of that, our field day is sponsored by the ARRL every year. It's our Super Bowl. How many have gone to a field day before? Woo.
How many have no idea what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Awesome. Phil in the back, he probably doesn't. This is probably right. He probably doesn't. That's the good deal. The ARRL sponsors this field day once a year. It's always the fourth full weekend in June. So if anybody asks, when is it? You know, they haven't done it before because it's always the fourth full weekend in June. This year, that's 26th, 27th of 2021. Our goal is to set up in a field and communicate with as many folks that are on the planet. There are typically 4,000 to 5,000 stations up and running, and there are typically 9,000 or so home and field stations up and running. Last year with COVID, they changed the rules so that you could get a lot more points for working at home, and you could work at home. Thank you. There's a couple of people nodding that helped us last year. We'll see the call sign on the board. So that they could help the club. This year, that same rule is in effect. So if you want to work from home, you can. We'll talk about that more later. But that one went up to 19,000 people that headquarters had to deal with and develop paperwork for, put them all in the newsletter. What is field day? It's a great test of emergency operations. The idea is we all set up in an area that we don't normally set up, and we communicate with everybody in North America. On any bands, any modes, any questions? Yes, sir?
North America. Didn't we used to include South America a couple of years ago?
It's stated as a North America.
Okay.
I don't know what you did back when the spark gap transmitter was invented. No, I think it's North America because it's always Canadian and Canadian. It's where's Peter? He's on this. He'll tell me that's the right way. Canadian. Lots of good signals on the band. Everybody comes out, everybody works, everybody's surprised. There's good propagation on those days because everybody's out and everybody's talking and doing their thing. We will use single sideband, CW, and digital. For those of you that don't know what single sideband is, that's the voice part where you're talking to somebody in the other area. Morse code is generally passed on continuous wave where you're tapping the radio on and off. And the new digital modes have all kinds of crazy stuff where you can send call signs, names, and sections to each place. It's a great time to come and learn new operations. So those of you that raised your hand when Keelan says, who doesn't know what I'm talking about, this is a good time to come and you'll see darn near everything in operation from one end to the other. If you have friends that have no idea what you do, bring them as well. We're always open to guests. We love to have other people come. They can operate. We put them in front of the mic, they can talk, and they can have some fun doing that as well. They use the club call sign, so nothing. Nobody needs a call sign, but we hope we all have a call sign. CW bands, if you've never done CW, those guys are phenomenal. I see Kim here, and I saw Bill is Bill here? I just know Bill Robertson, WG is here somewhere. Those guys sit there and listen to those little beeps and boops, and they've got the easy job, because all they really have to do is pick out the call sign of the other guy, and pick out a couple letters, and pick out a station, an area. And then they punch a button and it does all the work, right?
Yeah, that's it.
That's
That's all
it.
there is to it. Anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it. So if you come out there and they'll show you how to do that, that's kind of fun. Digital thing, if you don't know what the digital stuff is, that's taken the world by storm. I turned the radio on just to listen, and I heard 118 countries in 7 days on the monitor, heard them. So that's with terrible conditions that we have now. The why field day? In a normal year, we put lots of radios out there, put lots of antennas out there. People build antennas. It's a great place for folks to come through, and if they've never built an antenna, be part of that team. If you see something and you don't know what it is, it's a great, just point at it. What's that? And you can ask questions and make that stuff happen. Learn by doing. You can go out and push the buttons and make it happen. It's a great place to talk with people. Last year it wasn't, because there were only 12 of us, I think, at most here. We usually have 100 and some folks that come. So this year will be a great place to talk to people. And there's always buy, sell, and swap gears. People always bring stuff. If you have something that you don't need, saw Tom passing out a flyer that he's trying to get rid of a good radio at a really good price. That's a good place to make stuff like that happen. So feel free to bring that if you wish. SCARS will operate this year out of this building, this facility, on the 26th and 27th. And we will have 3 stations. We're going to use the Moore command vehicle. We're going to use a tent, and we're going to use a trailer out back to make that all happen.
We don't use the fire tower.
We will use the fire tower. Yes, the CW guys will have the fire tower. They will have the trailer out there. We're going to put the CW guys all the way in the back, and we'll just bring them food every once in a while. And we hope they don't come mix with us. There you go. So no, they'll be in the back part of it. I'll show you a map. More importantly, all of this information is at w5nor.org/FD for field day. So that's a good place to go back when you go, I forgot what he said. Yeah. Oh, I skipped one. Thank you.
No, I was just going to say on the screen here, mention again.
Oh, thanks. SCAR's pandemic version is that you can still work from home. If you choose to work from home, you can still enter all of your information. When you turn in your log, you can say we're going to be part of the South Canadian ARRS. That's how we have it listed. So if you wish to just work at home, last year Thomas Hayes did I don't know, some contacts. Hank did a bunch of them. Victor did a bunch. Peter Moore did a bunch. Lots of folks helped with that. So you can still join in from home. You can join in from home, and you can come here to the field day. You can't work this station for credit from your house. So if you're at the house and you call this station to make credit, that's not allowed. So if you would intend to come visit us and work here at this station, please don't contact us. Leave that one for somebody else. So that's one of the little tiny parts of the rules, but nothing exciting. Special pandemic conditions are what we expected, same as what we're experiencing today. If you have any symptoms, stay home. But we don't expect any change between now and 2 weeks from now. This is a map that Wayne done, and I walked out the other day. Yes, the birthday boy I heard. It helped put up the other day. This is on the field day site if you want to see it. We show the red digital truck. That's going to be Galen's mobile command center. It's going to be parked right outside the door here with an antenna going west. Go west. It's a T2FD, twisted tilted, terminated, folded dipole platform.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is the CW tent far enough away?
By the rules, that's I think as far as we can get it.
Okay, just checking. Thank you.
Bob and Kim, Bob's laughing, Kim's not, so I don't know what that means. See, the problem is those guys are real happy to be down here away from the rest of the crazy. Right. So they got the best spot. The phone.
And they will generate most of the points.
Yes. And they do. It's not a contest. Oh, yeah, there we go.
No, but they'll still generate most.
Yeah, we'll still generate most of the points, even though it's not a contest.
Even though they list them by points in the banks, in the ARRL, it's a contest. If you're keeping score, it's a contest. The phone piece is gonna be out here in a trailer in a tent that David Grizzle has, that he says that one guy with his finger can go poof and it pops up and it does everything perfectly. I don't know what, I don't know. I don't know if it'll be that good, but it's close. Rodney says he seems to know what he's talking about, so it is close. And our good friend Larry has a 5-ton generator, 5-ton air conditioner, and a 300 kilowatt generator. What is that?
10 kilowatt.
10 kilowatt. Okay, 10 kilowatt generator.
It's close, 300 kilowatts.
That he will run and cool that whole device and make that happen. So that will be out here. I think the current intent is to put up a DX Commander. There's Mark nodding. Ken were talking about that. Ken Sanborn is driving that bus, and they're gonna have a DX Commander. I don't see him here. I don't see him on the web, but Ken Sanborn's running that 6-band, I think, vertical DX Commander, and you'll have that up and running on that phone piece. And we've got lots of room. Anybody wants to add an antenna or try something or whatever. Mark AZQ, A5 AZQ, raise your hand, Mark. There it is. Mark will be driving the digital bus, and he has a 991, is it? Alpha? 991A set up with digital modes, and then like just like the one that's being presented. Tom didn't steal it from you. It's still there at your house? Okay, all right, just check. He's a 991A that'll be running the digital stuff, and that will be out of Galen's truck. The cool thing there is got all the screens and all that stuff, so that the digital should be a lot of fun in that piece. Ken Sanborn will be down in this area in the phone, running that section with his generator. So those two are both on generator. Third one is down here at the fire training tower. This is that beautiful 5 or 6 story the luxury accommodations behind us that they use to burn down every time they can. And we will have access to the top, and we can drag whatever we want off there. We have a CW cut 2040-80 dipole that would be on that. If anybody else wants to bring something different, they're welcome to, but that's what's planned to go on this, to hang off of this. And then Larry's going to bring a 50-foot tower. Is that still available?
It's not going up to 50 foot, but
Say 47.5 foot, 30 foot, 12 foot.
we might need a work day on it.
We might need a work day.
Well,
He has,
and that would be okay because the other ledge will not be quite up that tall either.
yeah, the other one's gonna go
Only
on,
an inverted V.
Thomas's 25 foot deal. Thomas Hayes has donated his trailer. If you were at the previous building, he has a 25-foot tilt-up trailer that he donated to the group, and
Because he moved.
Well, he went to Colorado. It's true. He did go to Colorado.
He's coming back here from Colorado to be fielded?
No. He left us his trailer.
Oh,
And he Monday morning will start his brand new job at a brand new engineering firm instead of the University of Oklahoma. He was the aerospace engineer for OU. So he got him one of the real engineering jobs. I bet he's got a slide rule and everything.
He's a good guy, and he was a big loss to the OU Ham Club. And
Only people that lost was us. He gained. It's a good deal for him and his family. It's south of Denver, so it depends on your attitude on cold, but you can figure that out.
Drive the train there.
Drive the train?
Yeah, he's an engineer.
Oh, he's an engineer.
Did you
That's
notice there is a train test facility in Pueblo, which is south of Denver, that they run trains at 120 miles an hour?
They run trains at 120 miles an hour south of Denver. Huh. Here's another one for you, Wayne.
I bet Peter knew all about that.
Yeah, we got a lot of train guys. We're working on it.
it was built by the, oh no, you don't want the details. Never.
No, stop. Don't listen to Kim. Stay out of this. So that's the general lay of the land. The building we are in now, it will be used for other activities. They're listed on this, on the webpage, but it generally at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we will do a VE test or a volunteer examiner led amateur radio testing session. Is that okay, Peter? Yes, sir. We will
Thank you.
test, if you wish to take a test advanced, this would be a really good time because Peter is raising the price from $0 to $35 every time you take the test, right, Peter?
Yes, that's correct, because I need the money, frankly. No. The FCC has not yet turned on their fee machine. They claimed they were going to turn it on in April, and then they said no. And scuttlebutt was, oh, June. Well, we're running out of June, so I don't know what the deal is. If you take a test in the next week, I'm not going to promise anything by field day, but take a test the next week. There is no FCC application fee. Once they do that, it will be $35 to get a license, $35 to renew a license, and $35 to upgrade a license.
And you'll see a great article in the newsletter next week on why that's such even a bargain, $35.
Yeah, it kind of is actually.
Really is, yeah.
And I don't work for the FCC. I definitely don't work for Congress, so that's it. Any questions about this whole stuff? Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Are you going to forego so you
The GOTA.
Go to station. We have not had any interest yet to show up for a go to station. Should something happen, we will be there. We will be available to make one happen. But if you, a go to station is get on the air. And that's for people that are brand new licensees. If there's some folks in the room, contact Wayne after the deal. And if you some folks in the new room, if you have not run HF activities for the last 2 years, you are considered a new person, and you can run this go to station. The idea is the newbies have to build, set up, and operate that station. So that's a nifty thing. Thanks for that piece, but we have not had any interest. What?
You were working on the schedule.
Right. Thank you. We have not had any interest in that yet, but I'm sure there might be some folks. So if you're a new person, talk to Wayne and he will be happy to set you up. 2 o'clock is our test session. 3 o'clock, we're supposed to do a lead Greenleaf antenna led special where we're going to build some twin lead. We've got 2 options, either a twin lead J-pole antenna that you can use to transmit or receive on UHF and VHF, or we've got another deal working where Peter Core's son, Nicholas, is doing an Eagle project, and he wants us to help him build 30 antennas, J-pole antennas, twin lead antennas for National Weather Service radios for 162.4. So those are options. So if you don't want to build your own, you can come solder up some other stuff. So that should be fun. That's at 3 o'clock. It's after the test session, probably about 3. And then for the rest of the weekend, if you really want to, you can solder away all you want. 4 o'clock, our goal is to do a fox hunt where we will hide a little transmitter and run around the countryside trying to find it. And that's always fun. So you bring your VHF antennas, your VHF tape measure antennas, and your VHF radio. You can chase that little fox. I will have some kits here that people can buy if they want to put one together and use for it.
Do you need any old tape measures?
We can always use tape measures.
Okay, I've had a couple crap out on these this week.
Oh, yes, bring the old tape measures. We always use them. You get a good deal. We get a good deal at Harbor Freight when you buy them by the crate, but free ones are always better. Always better. Okay, this is the fire training tower that we talked about. You see at the back, you may not have seen it. The antenna is at the very top, and I will tell you that Saturday morning at 9 when we start to set up, it's a very quick walk to the top. Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock, it gets a lot taller because it's really hard to climb those stairs at the end of the day. Make sure you take everything on one load.
It's not enclosed, so.
It is not enclosed. So we were gonna put the CW guys on top of this.
Yeah, so the weather could be an issue.
Weather could be an issue. Yeah. But that's the intent.
Oklahoma.
This is Oklahoma. It could stand.
We need a tent or an enclosure on top.
They're gonna be in the tree. You think you got one that'll stay up there?
One that's similar to yours.
I don't know. I don't know what we do. The goal is to put just antennas up there. And now, I would love to operate from there. I think it would be a lot of fun. However, after being up there last year, it's windy. It's,
Yeah, it's
Well, I
really
think
windy
that-
and weather could be a deal.
yeah,
I think the plan is for y'all to operate out of grid trailer, which is right where that red truck is right there.
yeah. The plan is for the operations will be down on the ground.
So that y'all won't have to constantly climb the stairs.
Correct. But if they want to, you know, I don't care. Carry it up there. Yeah, get no elevator. This is the building we're in, the right side is the piece. We're gonna be taking, whoops, taking out of the thing. Here is an activity log. This lists all the goodies. I guess I gotta change the digital sheet portion of this, but this is the ACS, the ICS logs that will show you who's involved, who's in charge, and who to see. And we have all that stuff documented. Sign ban operations, we talked a lot about this thing. The goal is to use either the Yazoo here, or we've got a TS2000 that somebody's gonna bring, or 2 or 3 other radios to bring. I think last year we went through 5 different radios that we hooked up there just because people wanted to try different radios. And that's a very easy thing to do, to switch radios out. We will also have antennas and W loads, and if you want to bring your own radio and check something out, that's a good thing to do. Make that happen. CWP's RG will have his radio gear out there. It's what we're still hoping. He said, God willing, the creek don't rise. Haven't had a creek come up yet, so we're good. We will put a 2040 dipole, which is what we did last time. And if you want to come out, if you're serious, if you are a CW person, you want to come out and see those guys, they'll be happy to get you involved in the team. Digital operations are going to be in the war trailer up here at the front. That's the antenna we talked about. The digital operations produce all of this fun stuff in the bottom. We will tie in a SCAR's YouTube Zoom connection. We'll see what we have for different cameras available. Probably more in this room is where it's going to happen due to internet connectivity, but we'll be on the same Zoom YouTube piece. What we do is keep score. This is the contest piece where everybody says it's not a contest. Why are you keeping score? Last year we did 959 total contests for 3688 total points. These, if you're not familiar with this little chart, this is the set of 71 sections for the ARRL, and it's 12 in Canada. Yes, 12 in Canada. And this is how ARRL splits up the areas. Oklahoma is its own section. Texas has 3 because there's lots of people in Texas. When you make a call or you receive a call, you have to pass 2 pieces of information. One is how many transmitters and what type of operation you are. We will be 3 transmitters because we talked about 3, and we will be F Foxtrot, which means we're working out of an emergency operations center.
We say it's not a contest, but what it does is it tests our ability to communicate stuff. This is the stuff we communicate. And so it may seem trivial, but in fact, field day is about communicating between stations in the field under less than ideal conditions. So passing this kind of information is the test.
And we score, and we take points so that we can test ourselves. How many points did we do last year? How many did we do the year before? Are we still able to do operations at the same levels? And we increased our capabilities.
Yes, and both very good points. One is just to repeat it. One is that this is section material. It's data that we're transporting in an emergency situation. This could be, we need more fire trucks. We need more D batteries, but we're just trying to pass data. So these, one thing to commit to memory is this table. If you want to be a good operator, is commit this table to memory, because there's some tricky ones in here. And the one that usually gets people tripped up is LA, because one section is called LA, and that's Louisiana. There's another
Hey,
section.
when I do my VE thing, I've got a handout that's available for people to print out and study beforehand that covers that exact topic.
There you go. And there's a second section called LAX, which is very obvious. I mean, I'm sure, I don't even need to continue.
No, don't,
It's Los Angeles.
their airport.
We're not from Los Angeles. We don't know that LAX is from Los Angeles Airport. They do, but that's the ones to watch for. Yes, Bill?
You're running the law, that shows up on the screen. Check it.
Correct. When you're keying this information in, it will show up what's happening. But if you're not paying attention, if the computer doesn't know any difference between LA and LAX, you have to know the difference between it. Is there any others that are really, I mean, there's obviously Missouri's, Mississippi's, Montana's. I grew up in Missouri, so I get it, but there's a lot of M's that you get.
That's the problem, huh?
Show me, baby, show me.
Arkansas is not AK.
Correct. Yes, that's a good point. That's a good. Yeah, Arizona is not
AR.
AR. Arkansas is AR, Alaska is AK, Arizona is AZ.
They are mostly the postal abbreviations, but that breaks down in California. So
Yeah, California and Texas and Florida. PAC is Pacific, and that one's always tough to figure out. If they're in a small island in the Pacific, you put in PAC. Yes, question.
Mark, refresh my memory, how do you get into the law? It's all on the computer, right?
The computer, it's all computer log. There's a program called N3FJP, N3 Fox Juliet Papa. All the machines will be, all the stations will have one of those set up.
this is a screenshot of N3FJP showing which sections have been worked and which haven't been worked.
Rodney?
We have an operator that is on the radio, and then we have a logger beside them logging this information into the computer. So they work as a team to get that into the computer.
That's at the phone
They hear the
station.
same thing.
That's the phone station. The CMA don't want to talk to another guy. They don't want him near.
Well, it's,
They don't shower, so you just kind of stay away. No, that is, and it's two different ways.
I mean, digital guys actually don't need two either.
No, you know, it's true. Digital is all automatic. You just keep pushing the buttons and it's no fun. It's not real amateur. Right? No, that's not right.
It's communication that counts.
The section manager said,
Yeah. And this is recorded, Mark, too late.
Hopefully, I'm going to record it and make it go on. So yes, in the sideband station, which is where most of the people will filter through, there are usually two positions. And if you want to be, if you're afraid to push the mic button, you could be that logger, and you type stuff into the computer, and there'll be somebody to set you up at that piece on that computer. So that controls all the stuff. You don't have to count. As Peter said, this is a display of that program. And if you look at the difference of color, this darker shade of blue and this lighter shade of blue, clearly indicate that we did not work Alaska.
it's red on our screens.
Is it? They are.
Yeah.
For instance, VI is
Virgin
Yeah.
Islands.
oh, Virgin Islands, yeah. VI is Virgin Islands, PR is Puerto Rico. So the color will change. As you start, they'll all be this red color, and they'll flip over to blue when somebody sees it.
And typically, don't worry about the abbreviations that much, because typically you're going to get those or receive those when you're working.
And that is correct. Somebody's gonna say, I'm 3A LA, and if they pause and then say X, you gotta know, oops, wait a minute, there's two different LAs. Did you say LA or did you say LAX? Sometimes you can tell by their accent, but then people move. So you're not really sure. Sometimes you can tell by, used to be, good old days, you can tell by their call sign number. So if it was a 5 station, that would be Louisiana. If it was a 6 station, that would be California. Now, you know, us old guys remember that. The new guys can take their call signs and be all over the place. So you can't really tell too much. One piece that I've got later is a little cheat is to run qrz.com. That's cool. Bring that up. CWI operations, this is what we did last year. There's the actual trailer. Up here is the antenna, and it just goes away. You can't really see too much. This is the feed line going up two of these. This will be run on a 10K generator that David has for that area. Or one of 7, I think you said, right? This is the, you can see how far you are away from the firehouse, so we got it plenty far away. The goal is to make a nice big camp, because if you put all the antennas right next to each other, you interfere with each other. That's not good. Here's the W5 LHG cool station, 5 tons of fun. And you'll be running that into the station that's going to do sideband stuff. So that's the next thing. There's the chuck wagon mobile, Phil's wonderful little vehicle. That's going to be providing food. We will have food in this area. We do a lunch on Saturday, sandwiches, build your own sandwiches. We do a big event at 6 o'clock. Our big barbecue here. So if you bring side dishes and desserts, you'll be happy to know that we bring hot dogs, hamburgers, and hot links. You got a statement there, Phil, our chief chef?
Yeah, there's a shameless plug, okay? When you pay your club dues, they give me a budget, and I buy food, and you get the time you eat for free. They'll pay you food.
Pay your dues, that gives him money for food. That's a good bribe.
We provide sandwiches and chips. That's it. If you want.
And you'll like it.
And drinks.
Sometimes. You want anything else, you have to bring it. So, yeah. So if you get really lucky on Saturday night, Bill will bring some window locking baked beans. And if you're one of about the first 15, you get baked beans. Otherwise, you bring beans, you bring potato salad, you bring all that picnic type stuff. And that dessert, that helps a lot. I need a show of hands of how many people will show up for lunch. Stick your hand up. Count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 18, 20, 22, 24. Now put your hand up. You're obligated to come and eat. Okay? Don't stick your hand up if you're not gonna be here, because I end up with too much food.
So that's never been a problem. Too much food's never been a problem.
Okay, if you're gonna be here at Saturday evening for hamburgers, stick your hand up. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, good enough. Thank you.
You're forgetting Sunday morning.
He was just pausing.
You get free food on Sunday morning, courtesy of Mr. Frizzle. And I'll tell you, it's an incredible breakfast.
You gotta work during the night.
You gotta work during the night. No, you don't.
No, you don't. 10 o'clock, we make it at 10 o'clock because nobody shows
Show
up
up
until 10
at
o'clock.
8 o'clock Sunday morning, drag the butt out of bed, throw on a t-shirt, show up down here, and you get out of this city.
But we would appreciate help tearing down.
Yeah, so if you eat a lot, sit still until 1 o'clock and then we'll do. No, 10 o'clock is breakfast, and that's typically Chef Grizzle. We go we rob a chicken house and we get a whole bunch of eggs and we get the cheese and omelet stuff. And it's a very good deal. A few biscuits and gravy and all that stuff.
For people who haven't been here before, the Saturday night is usually spouses invited and whoever you want to bring. So,
And-
spouses, kids.
And that applies all day, spouses, kids, whatever. I actually will have this year access to a cornhole game. I still haven't figured out why they call it cornhole, but I know what corn is, and there's no hole in the corn. A cornhole game, a Connect 4 game, a giant Jenga that's about this tall, So if we have little people around, there's gonna be some stuff for them.
Aren't your wife already out of classroom?
No lawn darts. Yeah, actually, my wife did move from Moore
Yeah.
to Noble. And yes, she arrived, said, hey, I needed, lots of. It's 5 minutes from the house instead of 35 minutes from the house. Do that now. But we took 160 boxes of stuff from the Moore School and took to Noble. And 4 or 5 of those fell off the trailer and into our shop so we could use them for field day. She said, you might use these for field day. But it's good. So we'll have a bunch of little games. So if we do have little people show up, they should be something to do those. And back to that story, wives, girlfriends, family are all invited for the entire piece. That's not a problem. I do suggest if you're gonna bring a wife and a girlfriend, work on your schedule. Might be, that's caused problems in the past. Phil?
One thing I
No, you're
forgot,
kidding.
you have a special diet, bring it along. You kill it, we'll grill it.
If you have a special diet, bring it along and bring your own beverages if you wish to bring them, whatever you want to do to do that. Of course. Mr. Grizzle's got. If there is a problem, if you wish not to have pork, Mr. Grizzle will assist you in making sure that doesn't happen. It's good deal for Saturday or for Friday, Sunday morning. Michelle.
I just want to say, quite a while, people get around with each other and say things that are not appropriate, but we will have guests, family members, not kids.
And hopefully we'll have elected officials, appointed officials, and people that we're trying to demonstrate the value of what it is we do for our public.
So behave. So my mother always says, she's like, behave. Very good signs all. Digital network is digital. I don't know where I lost it on. Digital network is, this is the setup last year. It was used to show all the little signals in the bottom. And if you have not used a digital network, this is the way I learned is I didn't know nothing. I showed up and Bill Baker showed me how it all worked. So that was kind of cool. There's CW. That's the 1 minute where we let Bob quit the radio for a while so he didn't have to keep the key going. There's his little N3 FJP computer screen. You can see that in the background. That's the where you put the logs into. And there's his key. And there's his key, and there's his headphones, and his little aircraft. And he's correct. That's right. He brought his own. He brought us. He had his own. He had his own meals, so we were good to. That kind of formatted weird. Home operators last year. These are the people that signed up. There's 15, so if there's somebody slid up the bottom, sorry about that. These are the folks that worked from home last year and helped us with that. It was kind of cool.
As far as I know, there's no distance limitation on that. So Tom, we could still get Tom's QSOs.
Yeah, Michigan Mike, that's a good idea. Tom, I doubt Tom's gonna have an antenna up, but it would be embarrassing enough to get one up. I don't know where he's gonna live. He doesn't know if he knows where he's gonna live. He starts his big job tomorrow, or Monday. So
He left so quick, he almost forgot his family. That's what I heard.
Right. I think it was their choice. What was it? He could do that. He's got to set up to go work in the parks, so he might do that.
You know, something about phone on field day. This is a great exercise for, this is a great exercise for learning how to dig out calls when there's a whole bunch of people calling you all at once. Because one of these days, we're going to have a net call up that is not a roll call. It's just gonna, everybody call me.
Like the DMR net.
And you're gonna have to figure it out. And this is great training for that. Not everything works off of a roll call. It's not all well disciplined. Even some roll calls are not well disciplined. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They're calling you because you're the net, in this case, you're the station they want, but in a net, you're the net control station. Gotta have that skill for emergency communications.
Very, very good point. That's what this whole next stack goes for, is that there's 10 quickie things if you're doing this. I'll put this on the field day page so we can download it, look at it later. But there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either be the person that is sitting there calling CQ saying, I want you to talk to me, CQ field day. This is W5 in Oklahoma. Or you can be the person that likes to hunt and pounce. And that's the person that responds to me calling PCQ. So if I called CQ and Kim's going to answer me, it would go like this: CQ field day, CQ field day. This is W5NOR.
N5OP.
N5OP. This is W5NOR. Copy 3A, 3F. We put this really big in front of the radio so that you don't forget it. Please copy 340, 3 Fox, Oklahoma, 3F OK.
QSL, please copy 1 Echo, Oklahoma.
QSL, good luck in the contest. QRZ field day. This is W5OU field day. Now, what'd I say? Oh, I spent the day yesterday with Gordon. Those of you that know Gordon understand my craziness.
I'm sorry.
We used to use W5OU as the club call sign before we got W5NOR. So what you heard there was the 2 of us passing stuff back and forth. I'm listed as 3F. We are 3F Oklahoma. He had to copy that and write it down in his log. And he gave me 1 Echo Oklahoma. 1E means emergency. It means he's sitting at home with a generator or a battery or wind power, or he has one of his kids on a bicycle. I don't know, something. He's not running off the. 1D is you're sitting at home. D means sitting at home in your air conditioner with your beer cooler. So 1E, 1D are those 2 different ones. 1C is mobile. If you're out driving around, that's 1 Charlotte. If you're 1B, 1A means you're out in the park. We could run A status because we're running all outside. We're all on generators this year. 1B is battery.
Why don't we run? Why don't we?
I don't know. We could. I didn't even think about that till we just said that out loud. We could run A. Yeah, Lee.
Which one is our point class? Is point a multiplier that's better than the other one?
For what status to run?
Yeah.
No, the only difference is there's rules that apply each differently. So for instance, in a normal year, Mr. 1D sitting at his house can't talk to another 1D station because that's just too easy. So they're only restricted to talking to us.
That rule's waived this year and last.
That is correct. That rules waived. There are different rules that you can get things, you can get different points. We will, if we're in Fox or we're in A, we can get points because we have an elected official, Rodney, Mr. School Board President, and hopefully others that show up. If we get elected official, that gets us 100 points. If we have an emergency manager show up, that gets us 100 points.
What if the club president is an emergency manager? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's 100 points.
Cool.
It's worth well more than that, but the league only recognizes. How's that? Are you ready?
Good save.
There's 3 emergency managers.
Yep, we got a crowd. So we're really blessed with all that. That's really awesome to have all that involvement. If we send out a public relations release, we get 100 points. If we have a public area, that's 100 points. So there's a lot of point stuff. And if you're into the rules and you think the rules are really cool, go see Wayne and he'll put you to work on something because well, otherwise they have to see me. And I don't want that. But if you see Wayne, if you want to chase those down, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can figure out. But I'm sorry. Oh, Linda.
Just point of clarification, talk about 3 transceivers. Previously, plus that radio. You have to shut down one about the 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
can only
You
have-
mean, are you saying another one, not us? Is that what you're saying? That you visited?
No. I think this
Last year, we had the sideband station in here. We did not have it out in the tent. So that was the one. We had one out, we had CW and digital were out in that gray trailer out by the,
I remember trying to set up the camp, we couldn't, so they ended up having small people out there.
yes, that was a place to go ahead and meet. That was Larry's Lee's cottage last year. It was like 42 degrees in there. Yeah, we had problems with getting the tent up last year because of the wind. And that was, but yeah, we chose to run the sideband station in here last year because there were only 11 of us in here, in total in the whole event. We restricted the.
And there was no test session.
Right, and there's no test session, there was no educational session, there was no mini barbecue. We had what, hamburgers? That what we brought, yeah, hamburgers brought in from somewhere. So it was very restricted last year. Now,
So will there be
in here will be the test session, in here will be the antenna building projects, and I'm guessing there will be a lot of worthless drivel discussions happening that everybody thinks is majorly important. In other words, it's hams talking to hams.
so when you buy people bring up their stuff, so
Yeah, it would go out in the tent, or if we're gonna hook you up to a dummy load to try something, yes. If you're gonna bring your own radio, we would hook you up to a dummy load in here if you're just trying to see if it's working properly. If you wish to use it, we would take it out to the tent and hook it up. If you bring a radio and you wanna hang an antenna from the tower and you wanna bring your own coax, we can make that happen. We would have to shut down one of the radios at that time to do that. You can only have 3 transmitting devices. I saw a question on Facebook, and the guy says, well, my Flex radio has 6 transmitters and 27 receivers, and it can do everything, including washing dishes. How many does that count for field day? 1, because you're transmitting only on one. Now, a Flex can talk on sideband and it can do digital at the same time. That would be 2. Now, if you're smart enough to make all that stuff happen, you're probably not doing field day with a $5 Flex radio.
If you wanted to, we have our 3 club stations going, but if you wanted to come down with your own stuff and your own antenna, you could operate as your own home station.
You gotta stay outside of the 1,000-foot radius. Yeah. We need a 1,000-foot radius around the place that's us, and everything else is not us. So if you go down the street a quarter mile and set something
You
up,
probably don't want to bring your own, or hang your own antennas anyway, then you might be interfering with.
2 stations that close usually cause issues. But that's all possible. So yeah, that's a good question on bringing your own stuff. We shut down something else if you want to try it. So like last year, we literally ran through 5 radios. Did you bring one last year?
no,
Some of the other ones, okay. There was, every time I looked over, there was a different radio. So it was cool. But the big thing is you can either hunt and pounce or you can call CQ. And I was the CQ caller, Kim was the pouncer. And
No, Bill Roberson's sponsor.
oh, Bill Robertson pouncer?
Yeah, I run.
Yeah. Those of us, with any talent. You will get, over time, you will get a lot more stations if you call CQ than if you go hunt and peck stuff. The guys at home are gonna be hunting and pecking. The folks here should concentrate on calling CQ for 2 reasons. Number 1 is you don't have to mess with changing the antennas, you don't have to mess with changing frequencies, you don't have to mess with radio, you just take off running. And then number 2 is you run into duplicates. So if you're sitting there calling CQ, the other guy is going to check your call sign to make sure that you and I haven't talked before. Pardon? Theoretically, yes. That theoretically he's going to check. And there are some times where you put it in a log and it says, we're a duplicate, and sorry, I can't call you. Can't you? Yes, ma'am.
Last year while I was working from home, and I noticed that, 20 meters and 40 meters for pillars, down to 12 and 17, it was just like you could Yeah. So, you can sometimes avoid some of the problems that we want to.
It says check other bands.
There's a strategy to this. And the strategy is this logging program will tell you what your rate is in QSOs per hour. You set a rate that you want to meet. Like in CW, I don't like going below 60 an hour, and I try to shoot for 100 an hour. If I start to fall below that and I'm calling CQ and people just aren't answering me, it's time to change bands. That's your best indicator of when to change bands, is when your rates begin to fall.
Right, and the big careful thing is work bands are not allowed on the contest, so the
Yeah, you can't,
God's bands.
you can't run 30, 17, or 12.
Right. But yeah, that's the big thing is, and I know I stayed here, I got in, it was, the radio was sitting there by itself, so I jumped on it like 9:30 at night, and I ran till 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning, and I was running on voice about 100 an hour.
And that's
clip.
really good on.
Yeah, it was moving for a while there, but you can't get that, and the next piece we'll talk about, how you maintain that. But if you're here, you're gonna wanna stay on that CQ thing. If you're that impatient guy that calls CQ 3 times, where's my, calling 3 times, see, if you're calling CQ and you're not getting any replies, keep calling is the right answer. You gotta remember, people are tuning by, they're doing other things, and they happen to catch you, and they'll answer you. And then somebody else will tune by and listen. So if you keep that noise on that channel, and you want to keep that stuff going, I'm sure it's the same on CW.
Yeah.
You just keep that transmitter going.
I wait no more than 5 seconds, usually about 3 between.
You want to keep the channel.
Yeah.
You want to keep it.
Right.
You don't want anybody else partnering with you.
And if somebody else comes in to take your channel, that can be a bad thing.
Well,
So you want to call, they're showing 3 by 3 and then wait 5 seconds on voice. On
Yeah.
CW guys are just bang, they're on.
if somebody moves in on your, this is their strategy, more strategy. If somebody moves in on your frequency and they're not calling you, ignore them. Keep calling. Then it becomes a contest of chicken. And pretty soon they're going to leave.
If I'm calling CQ, bump in on me. If I'm calling CQ, it'd be CQ Field Day. This is W5NOR.
CQ Field Day, N5OP, CQ Field Day.
CQ Field Day,
CQ Field Day,
W5NOR Field Day.
CQ Field Day, N5OP.
CQ Field Day, W5NOR,
CQ
QRZ Field Day. Who's the case?
Neither of them can hear each other, so.
Here's a case station, and even if you make up the fact there's a case station out there, you keep the traffic going, and you keep the people interesting. And that Peter was saying is that Kim may be in the West Coast, I may be in the East Coast, and all of a sudden the conditions pop in, propagation will change, and now all of a sudden we hear each other. Kim did not bogart my frequency. Kim was sitting there in California doing his thing, happy along, and some dummy from the East Coast shows up because propagation.
Yeah. If you decide that you can't hold the frequency anymore, work him and move. Put him in the log and move. And set up CQ on another channel.
And that you typically can outlast them. Typically, they're not that skilled. They'll either realize that this is happening. People get mad at the other guy flopping in, but it's not. Kim's not a jerk.
It's not personal.
Kim was working on his slave. Well, Kim might be a jerk, but Kim. This doesn't prove it. Kim was happy where he was at. I was happy where I was. Conditions changed. Last year, I was telling a story the other day. All 3 of us, the code, the digital, and I, we were noticing propagation went from very close in to South Texas, to Florida, to Pennsylvania, New York, and then it came back in. It kept going in circles. I've never seen that before, but it was just circling around. I made that comment, this is really stupid. And those 2 guys go, yeah, that's stupid.
Now, it's important to know that if you hear somebody and they're really strong, or they show up really strong, chances are they listened for about 5/10 of a second, decided they didn't hear anything, the frequency's clear, so they'll use it. Those are the jerks. And so that's where then it becomes a contest for you to hold your frequency.
And usually you can hear that other guy slowly building up its propagation.
Yes.
I can start to hear Kim, and then all of a sudden we're just solid, and somebody has to give that.
Yeah.
What is your strategy for answering CQs as opposed to calling?
That's hunting and pouncing versus running. Running is when you're calling CQ all the time. You're running the frequency. Hunt and pounce is when you're looking for somebody calling CQ and you tune it across. And your rates will always be better running.
I did last year, that 6-hour stint, I did 2 frequencies. One was really close to 14,300 or 14,300. And it was great because yeah, I was close. I wasn't on it, but I was close. And the propagation came up, and some guy jumped up and said, "Hey, you're near the, it's right on the edge. You're near the net frequency." And I must have known my mother, but he said something about her. Then I look up at the screen and say, "Oh, I'm at 302.9 or whatever." So I was real close.
That net has been there since 1912. Didn't you know that?
I do know that. However, I do know the rules are
Nobody owns a frequency.
So I moved. I was polite. I moved, and then I stayed still the whole time.
And a good net control would move the net.
Well, we know that's not.
That ain't gonna happen on that net.
That's another
That ain't
question.
gonna happen.
But notice I qualified that with good net control.
A bunch of other techniques, you will go through those as you do them. Make sure you stay put. Stay put on a frequency for when you're here. Couple things on the N3 FJP software. Make sure when you sit down to enter your initials. There's a way to enter the initials to do that. That lets you get credit. You all get brownie points from our mothers, and that gets you the brownie points for that. We can then go back and say, oh wait, MPK did this. What was this call sign? It's not a valid call sign. When Peter goes and puts the log signs, or I guess this year it's Ed, puts them up on the log of the world. Make sure that your software matches the band/operating mode. So if you're on 20 voice, make sure it says 20 voice, and it doesn't say 40 because the person before you was running 40 and you switched to 20. And enter the call signs as they come in. So if you're listening for stuff, put the call sign in and it'll pop up with the duplicate stuff, and you can not worry about collecting your data instead of doing that. QRZ.com, have an extra browser open on that. You can always go look up a station if you have some problems. If you hear somebody, you can't figure out what part of the world they may be from. Asian accent. Okay, got it. I can understand that call sign. And that's about it. Questions, comments, Michelle?
I just have two things that some of us bring scratch paper because you don't always grab that call sign the first time. Scratch paper, you must take notes, especially if you're a blogger. Sometimes both of you are taking scratch notes. I know the first time for me, it was like, there's a piece of paper around here. Take scratch paper with you. One of the things that I observed last year that was quite annoying was keep in mind the one Delta stations are going to be working with their amplifiers and most of the field stations.
Not this year.
Not legally.
Not this year. Last year that wasn't a rule, but this year they're limited to 100 watts or 150.
Praise the Lord, so it's quite annoying one. And then the third thing is sometimes for the more unskilled or the people that are really nervous, I don't want to dissuade anybody from at least getting on and trying to do both. Hunt and pack and something called CQ. It's very quite fun and quite scary. And if sometimes late Sunday mornings are people are on Sunday afternoons or Sunday mornings, and I don't want to take anybody from Saturday and trying at different times. So, if you're a little nervous and you've observed all of Saturday, and just haven't gotten that, get out there and get on the air.
Yeah. On phone, even on CW, if there's a pile on you, the pile won't last very long because the hunt and pouncers are gonna move on if they can't get you right away. But if you only get a partial call, answer with that partial call. Station ending in Papa again. Then somebody ending in Papa is gonna call you.
It doesn't have to be the same guy.
May not be the same one. Now, if somebody calls you ending in Charlie, you know, no, you say, no, station ending in Papa. You don't chastise them. Just station ending in Papa, call it QRZ, call again. And then usually somebody is gonna answer you. That's the guy that called you. That's fine. Never call anybody with a partial call. Never call somebody with NOR. Never do that. Always give them the full call. But you can answer with a partial call. Station with Charlie again, okay, and that works. It helps you control the pile and helps work the station.
Yeah, do not come out and say, Oscar Romeo, Oscar Romeo.
Yeah. No, don't do that.
Because how long is already?
Yeah.
And the good practice is not to respond to them that are doing it.
Yes.
The other secret is, once you get, again, you gotta be doing this a long time, but you can hear the pile up. So for instance, let me do the second row, the Conrad row, all the way across there. I'm gonna call CQ, and all of you in Rodney's row, just that row, come back with your call sign when I call CQ. CQ field day, this is W5NOR. What'd you hear?
A5F.
Yeah.
W5J.
That's what you hear. Now, if you hear that level, you know you got a pretty mild pile up, and you don't want to blaze through them. You want to mosey through them. You want to take them as they got, because you've got a good audience there. They're going to keep trying. There's 5 or 6 folks. You're at a level where you can say, okay, I hear 5 or 6, I'm good. Now I'm going to call CQ, and everybody come back to your call sign, and we'll see how that sounds. Does CQ feel like this is W5NOR? Yeah, that guy I'm not answering. The Norman, Oklahoma guy is not coming out.
You control the speed, you control the mic, you're calling CQ, you control it all. So if you need to go a little slower when you're exchanging, go a little slower. If people are impatient that are responding to you, they'll move on to another band, but don't be nervous. You control it.
And in that case, you work them as fast as you can, because they're gonna run.
So real quick, it's gonna be busy, there's gonna be call signs all over the place. Use phonetics.
Please.
Use the correct
Proper
word.
phonetics.
Yeah,
Use
proper phonetics.
phonetics, otherwise people not gonna, you say, or they may say, or.
W5 Norman, Oklahoma radio.
They may hear,
Yeah.
We have the proper phonetics, and this is the time to use it. You can use N9 DUB, N9 dirty underpants, which is what they used for years out of Indiana. But not on the field. Okay, that's it. Thank you all. No, one more, sorry.
I am a Cub Scout leader. Would this be something
Bless
that, would this be something that I could ask my Cub Scouts to come out to?
Sure.
Sure.
So, in other words, is there an age that we
No.
should start with?
Well, I mean, if they're diapers, I'm not going there, but if they're in Cub Scouts, I think you're fine. That's the case. But go, and then just have them.
Older cubs, probably not tigers.
Probably not tigers? Probably wolves and above?
What age is that?
Well, wolves is. let's
Definitely
see.
legal.
Yeah, definitely legal. Wolves are 3rd grade and up.
Yeah.
Wolves
Again,
are 3rd
give
grade.
me an age.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
About we have an 8-year-old girl in the ladies club that has her license. She actually got her mother to get her license.
That's funny. Good for her.
A lot of it depends on what you're wanting to do with them, Any of them might be interested, at least for a while.
Right.
Some of them might be interested in operating, probably the older ones, or the more advanced, if you will.
Right.